same crowd, and it's starting to get crippling. You never felt in place, but you tell yourself it's all okay. Something's different today. You want to run the opposite way, and it seems like you're locked in a cage. You need to find a way out.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, this is Opposite Way by Leland. Well, by now you should know whenever you hear Leland, John is on the seat. I just love Leland so much. And with me is a fantastic gentleman. I will introduce him shortly. But if you're tuning in for the very first time, whether on our Facebook or radio platform, this is the Agape's Ultimate Business Show, where we bring incredible men and women, who are doing fantastic things. Today we just have a special. This is a really special. In fact, we've never had a guest doing, this in the same industry as a gentleman seated opposite of me. So without further ado, allow me to welcome Aidon Lippstreu. I don't know if I pronounced it correctly. My apologies.
That's correct.
That is Aidon Lippstreu of Karenhof Nursery and Sardinia Bay Kennels. So we are dealing today with a gentleman who is a dog lover. For all the dog lovers out there, give this gentleman a shout out and a great support. It's great to see some of y'all tuning in right now. Absolutely fantastic. So we're gonna start by just asking you, sir, if you can just if you have somebody on your mind right now that you'd like to give a shout out to.
I think my wife, Cordell, and the kids. I do hope that they're listening and supporting at home.
Awesome. Shout out to you, Lippstreu's wife and family. So, sir, we'll just start by reading your biography, and so that we can just get to know what kind of business you are involved with. Anyway, it is an ultimate business show, so you must be doing something absolutely amazing in the Bay. So the Kadenhof Nursery and Sardinia Bay Kennels are family-run businesses. The Kadenhof Nursery is a lockdown-inspired farm-style nursery in the Suds Valley. The Sardinia Bay Kennels, on the other hand, facilitates with pet grooming, dog training, and premium pet boarding service. Oh, you heard me right, okay? Premium pet boarding services. They also offer home obedience classes and dog equipment and accessories. So, sir, we'd like to ask now. I believe this has become a cliche question here, at Agape FM. How did you start? How was the genesis of the whole of this? Because I know it must have come from a passion point.
Yes, absolutely. I think for me on the dog side,
Yeah.
I think we'd always had dogs as growing up as kids, but I think it really was sort of compounded for me sort of in the mid-90s when my folks got me my first dog, and I was told to train it and to take care of it, and I had to do everything myself. And I think it really went from there. I'll be honest, I didn't enjoy the first year of training the dog at all.
Sure.
But having met up with some more and interesting people the following year, I've been hooked ever since. Attending training and seminars and learning from other people in the industry at the time is really where my passion grew. Having left school and trained in Joburg for a while and returning, and it sort of started to turn into people wanted to hear what I had to say. I wanted to learn from what I had learned and study, train with me. And really that's where it began. Bringing us to sort of 10, 11 years ago, where we were able to, fortunate and blessed to actually get into the property where we are now, where the boarding kennels are. And we were able to bring different facets of what we were already doing in terms of the training and our love and passion for the dogs and everything into one property.
Wow.
So now obviously having the boarding kennels and the dog training is there as well, and we've even started a dog park some years ago. So on the dog side of things, I believe that's where it would have grown for me.
Absolutely.
And on the succulent side of things and on the nursery side of things, that's really that came about from last year.
Lockdown.
Yeah, I can't say that I've ever had the green thumb or green fingers, as they say. But my wife and kids had a few plants from friends and what they bought at other farmers markets and things. And I just was intrigued with the colors and how they just seemed to survive, even with not little to no attention, but less attention than I'd ever given any flowers, which didn't seem to survive. Very much a water-wise plant, so I was quite intrigued and interested in them for that reason. And I really started building up a little bit of them myself, and then started to grow. And I would say that, only as recently as last year.
Wow.
And then what we found is we'd already had our own we host our own farmers market once a month, and I was able to bring in the succulents that we had started growing, and that we bought in and everything, and we were able to display and present and at our market.
Wow.
And that's where we've had sales and
absolutely
to date.
In fact, I've seen a couple of pictures of those, the succulent market, and they look amazing. Absolutely, absolutely amazing. So, the dog is called man's faithful friend.
Yes.
Man's
best friend. Absolutely.
Man's best friend. What intrigues you, or what really touches your heart about the dog?
I think that there's just this unconditional love in that, no matter what, the dog, any of the dogs, is always looking towards us for what they need. And there's just, without any reason given, there's that love.
Wow.
I mean, if I think of our 10 dogs, as I mentioned before, some of them, I mean, absolutely goofy, frustrating, annoying, but love you all the same. Much like the children.
Absolutely.
So I think that for me is without question, it's there. And then I think from a training aspect is what we're able to get them to do, because it's quite an intelligent creature. I think everyone has a different opinion on their dogs and their intelligence, and I think most dog owners that you speak to, or pet owners, will say, "But mine's the most intelligent, mine's the most clever. Don't you think my dog is clever?" And I hear that often, and my answer is yes, but absolutely. So yes,
absolutely. So this is a passion project. How did you turn it into a business? And please, you can just give us just a little bit on that.
Well, on the dog side, I'd already, as mentioned, that following on from the training that I was told I had to do with my very first dog, as it sort of went from there, and attending all those courses and seminars just to learn more at the time. That when I came back from Joburg, there was definitely much more interest in what I had to say, and I started helping and assisting and giving advice there. And really, it just went from there. So it was something that I didn't enjoy, then I loved, and I wanted to learn more. And through that, and obviously enjoying myself at the time, people then, as I said, wanted to hear what I had to say on the training side.
Wow.
And then following on from that, in terms of the training, it went into private security, but with dogs. Went into anti-poaching, but with dogs.
Yes.
So, just we sort of, each little bit was sort of added on as we went. So, I think that one, as you've said, it's a passion project. One has to have a passion because, the business will come.
Absolutely.
And certainly it did for us. Without, I don't want to say without trying. I mean, obviously we did try, but it seemed natural.
Absolutely.
It wasn't forced at all.
Absolutely. Man, we love such stories, because, it just tells us, that business is not something very out there. It's something that's really close, close to heart. It's usually the thing that you do like second nature,
Yes.
Oftentimes just take it there and, meet somebody's need, and they just put a premium to it. Could be as simple as that. We know that there is other complex, systems out there. So we're talking about, loving dogs, and there's a comment that you said that we're all about dogs. All breeds, shapes, and sizes, registered breeds or not. We want to hear. There's just a love of dogs that is just coming out of that statement. So with what you're offering, what are some of the services all about dogs? You say all about dogs, 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 but what are the services and products that you guys are offering?
Okay. Yeah, just quickly on that comment, I think that, certainly some of the dogs that we've had and have had over the years are, one gets registered dogs, one gets rescue dogs. There's dogs from
absolutely.
all different aspects of life. So for us, it's about the dog, and it really is irrelevant as to where they have come from, as to how much one loves them and can actually do something with them. So yeah, it's all about dogs, all of them, from the small to the big. Definitely ourselves, we have a lot of large breed dogs, but we even have a few smaller ones as well.
Awesome.
They're definitely some of the most frustrating for us personally, but I love nonetheless. So in terms of our services, we have obviously the dog boarding kennels, which was our primary service. Following on from that is the training, which we'd actually done some time before, but we've brought it all into the one property. And then good many years back now, we had started using a section on the property to run and to exercise the dogs, and people had seen that from the roadside and had asked quite often, can we not bring our own dogs there? Obviously for us it was, we were exercising our clients' dogs and our own, and we hadn't thought anything of it, and eventually I think it had persisted so long that we said, let's start a dog park. So that's where the dog park came from.
Okay.
So certainly, yes, we have private memberships month to month for those that want to join either in a group socially. Obviously, there's insufficient space. We were doing social distancing before it was popular, so there's plenty of space for that. But then also some dogs are not maybe necessarily social, although I think that they all want to be. So we have private times that people can book for as well. So,
absolutely, absolutely.
So sorry, the boarding and the training and the park would certainly be some of the top three services on the dog side.
Absolutely. I want you to just double click on the boarding.
Yes.
Side of things. How does that operate?
Okay. Well, really, certainly pre-COVID, and obviously COVID hit us quite terribly on the boarding side, with everybody not being able to travel for quite a large portion of last year. But when one goes away on holiday and needs somewhere or someone to look after your dogs, going into hospital, overseas trips, regional trips. We've had it when people are fumigating houses. Really, there's so many reasons, everyone each to their own. And we're able to give the dogs their home away from home and look after them. It's what we do. The facility is there and it's set up that it's every day, all day. That's what we're doing with the dogs. And being able to care of them when you can't.
And in terms of capacity, about
we have 68 units.
68 units
that we can use under the one roof, and then 12 outside. And then there's obviously large exercise areas, 40 by 5 meters in front of each of those. And then, of course, the dog park.
Wow.
There's a hectare or so that we exercise the dogs in as well.
Sure. There's lots of room for dogs.
Dogs are
Bring
plenty.
them all.
Dogs are plenty.
Bring them all. So, you said you've been doing this for about 10, 11 years or so?
They're all based at that one property, yes. I think in terms of dogs itself, certainly beginning with the training side of things, that was sort of since the mid-90s. But in terms of the boarding itself, yes, about 11 years now.
11 years. Okay, cool. So you guys also offer training for the dogs, as
That's
you're saying. If somebody is listening to us right now, watching, or may find this material and listen to it or watch it, and maybe they have tried to train their dogs, DIY, without professional knowledge, and the dog isn't responding as it should. What should they do? What are some of the basic things?
I think the best tip that I would give there first, before they come and see me, is that one has to find what enthuses the dog, what encourages the dog, what motivates the dog. We need something that the dog is excited about, and from then it can be made easy. So whether it's a treat that the dog likes or a toy or whatever, first and foremost we need something that motivates the dog. Often we hear, but my dog loves me, and the dog will work for love and affection, and I think that is definitely an end result. But to teach them new things, we need something that is certainly initially when learning something new, a little bit more than just your love and affection, which they know they're going to get anyway. So we
absolutely.
need something a little bit more.
So some sort of a reward system.
Absolutely.
You know, if you do this, I give you.
Exactly.
Then they learn that. All right. All right. Wow, this is absolutely fantastic. I'm enjoying it. And in terms of intelligence, raw intelligence, you know, you said, you know, something like that about dogs are quite intelligent, you know,
Absolutely.
creatures and stuff like that.
Yes, there are varying levels, but yes, as an animal, absolutely, they are definitely intelligent.
Absolutely. I love dogs. You know, I don't know how man's civilization to date would be without dogs. It wouldn't be the way we know it now. It would be very different. And let's go to the other side of things, that you also do succulents.
Yes.
Let's talk a bit about that. So how did you start this? You said it was a COVID baby.
Yes.
What drew you into succulents?
I think, as I mentioned, that I'd never really had the green thumb as per se, as they say, and my wife and kids had a few succulents as gifts and had bought a few themselves, and they've been around the house and the garden, and I really hadn't given them all too much thought. But certainly during, obviously, the early COVID, so sort of mid to late last year, and with business still having not yet begun again, one had to adapt and find something new. So as we went out, obviously, when we could, when we saw how they could grow, we'd obviously started our vegetable seedlings at the same time.
Okay.
Really simply because we needed food for ourselves and our staff.
Wow.
And it was really just growing on all levels. So certainly my enthusiasm was peaked then. And it's really just gone from there.
Wow. Absolutely. Absolutely. So in terms of succulents, what are you currently doing?
Look, in terms of the succulents, we had already set up the market pre-COVID, so we're only selling at the market at this stage. We're actually attending our first market tomorrow.
Wow.
That's not one that we host.
Okay.
My son still said, "Dad, what do you mean you're going to another market?" I said, but we have our own one, which is next weekend, actually.
Yes.
But we're actually attending another one at the Staden's Gorge Market tomorrow from 9 to 1.
Awesome.
So we sell there, and we're looking to open up most Saturdays, to every Saturday from 9 to 1 as well. So people will be able to visit us there and attend the dog park, and there'll be coffee, and there's a walking trail there. So very much a nice Saturday morning's outing. But in terms of the succulents, yes, we're growing all sorts, and we're growing from leaves as well. So leaf props, we get offsets or puppies, which I think is quite amusing. The mother plants and the pups, I think, as I said, that's quite hilarious. So we grow from that, and we're just increasing our range as we go.
Absolutely. That's what I actually wanted to find out, because if somebody says, okay, cool, I'm looking for this, plant and stuff like that, do you have it?
Look,
and
absolutely.
If you don't have it,
Look, at this stage, I think, and we're still learning, because, it's only a little over a year that we've been sort of really in the growing or development stage, and really only in the last few months have we started to actually sell. But so I'm certainly learning all the scientific names myself as we go, because there are quite a few. There's scientific names, and then there's the common names as well. But definitely, often people at the market already have asked, "But do you have this one?" I said, "Well, what does it look like?" Because I'm certainly intrigued by all the different colors and what they look like. I may not know all the scientific names yet. I am getting there. But when you've got things like some of the plants are called hens and chickens and mother of thousands, and then you get one that's called Graptoveria ruby and Echeveria, whatever it is. There's just so many to learn. So at this stage, I'm still very much, what does it look like? And then I can tell you whether we have it if you don't already see it.
Awesome. Ladies and gents, please, support Aidon Lippstreu on this amazing venture that he's on, onto succulents, with the green fingers. He's still learning, how it is. And, plants need a lot of care. And if somebody, from your experience, what does one need to know?
That's a good one. I think that firstly, what I love about the succulents is that it's obviously a water-wise plant, so they don't need, as certainly in the drought and how we're affected by water here in the bay, they don't need as much water as the next plant. Obviously, they do still need water, but they're a very hardy plant, so they tend to do quite well with not no water, but less than
little
most.
water.
So that's definitely something. But please don't not water them ever. They do need some. But what I certainly something for me that I would want people to know is what we learned with. Obviously succulents can grow in generally all weather conditions, but I think that sun for most of the day, but definitely not the shade. There's some succulents that may do well indoors, but then majority will do well outdoors. But again,
Absolutely.
each plant and flower is a little bit different. And what we've had a lot of attention with, because we've experienced it lately, is all the insects and learning what we can do to combat that. We've had snails and we've had ants and slugs and having to combat that. So one needs to do a bit of research or chat to somebody about that as well.
Wow.
Because that was certainly not something that I'd given much thought to. I was having far too much fun just growing. And then suddenly, we've had this batch where we're like, oh, what's wrong with this plant?
Yeah, absolutely.
And had to combat a few of the other natural elements and animals out there.
Absolutely. So, should anybody want to order some succulents from you, or maybe you want to bring a dog, for boarding, how can they get to you?
I think the easiest would be obviously one of our Facebook or Instagram pages and my cell number. I'm trying to keep it simple.
Yeah.
So there is social media, obviously, for the boarding kennels, Sardinia Bay Kennels, and for the Cardenhof Nursery. Both on Facebook and Instagram, and my cell number is there.
Absolutely.
And they're going to get a hold of me. There's not going to be you need to be transferred to this line, so you're going to get a hold of me. And if I don't, please leave me a WhatsApp, because then I have something to get to.
I know, absolutely. And ladies and gents, we've been chatting with Aidon Lippstreu of Sardinia Bay Kennels, SADS Canine Academy, so much more, even the succulents.
Yes.
Well, if you have any questions, please drop them on the comment section on our Facebook Live, or you can even WhatsApp us on our line 069-402-1131. We are very excited to hear about your story, about your business. This is the Ultimate Business Show, where we bring incredible guests that have businesses that are doing well and bringing change in the city. It's me, your host. The time now is 25 minutes past 1 p.m. We've been having a conversation about dogs and succulents. If you have a dog and you are traveling, or maybe you are leaving your home for one reason or another, you think that the dog needs to be taken care of, Lippstreu is your man. Please do contact him. As we said, on all their social media pages, you also get his number over there. This is me, John. We're also going to listen to Majesty yet again by Leland. Stay tuned, because we have some incredible shows coming up ahead. Awesome.